So somehow, Dad knew your Uncle Harry, is that?
His father and Uncle Harry were on the railroad together. So it's like, here we go again. You know, I figured I got somebody that nobody knew, nobody was related to. Oh my God, you're Joe Cashman. You're his father's name, Dave Cashman's son. Yep, we were on the railroad together. Oh God. Joe loved Uncle Harry. He always had a story. Old railroad man. Kids used to love to go up there to Petersham. God, so much fun kids could have up there. All the apple orchards, the big hay piles, the old car we could run around in.
Where was that?
Up in Petersham, Mass. They had a big farm, a chicken farm up there. And in their kitchen they had one of those great big long wooden tables, and everybody sat with a chicken in between them when you sat down for dinner. And they used to have a two-holer. We kids used to love that. You know, the outhouse. Funny the things you thought were great when you were a kid, right? Yep. But Joe used to like, let's go to see Uncle Harry, because he always had so many funny stories. See Aunt Nellie, and there was the Mayotte kid's mother, and Belugi kid's mother, and my aunt that lived up in Holyoke that never married, Honey E. And old Gertie Mayotte, God, her husband was handsome. Joe, railroad man, great big strapping. Killed on the railroad. I can remember let's see, there was John and Joe, Peggy, Helen, and Eileen. And I can remember on Friday when Skip working at First National, my mother used to tell him to bring, you know, the stuff that was left over from home. And she'd make me pots of soup to take up to them. And I remember Peggy going to a prom, and she borrowed one of my sister Helen's gowns. They had a rough time. 5 of them, you know, there was no kind of compensation then if your husband died. I mean, it was...
So about you learning how to fly? How'd that come about? You learning how to fly? How'd that come about?
Well, my brother John flew. And I decided that's what I wanted to do. So once I got where I kept my pay, I spent every nickel I had for the fly lessons. But
you didn't get to keep your pay. What happened before that?
I made $18 a week. I gave my mother $15, and I kept $3. That's what I had for my spending money.
And all the kids did that?
Yeah, except my brother Bob. He kept everything. He said, I have places to go, Betty. You're going as far as you're going to ever get. He did. Everybody in the family gave in. In fact, I don't know, Joe, whether your father might have thrown it away or what. But my mother kept a black book. And she kept everything in there. What everybody paid, you know, whatever everybody gave her every week for money. And because that's everybody that worked paid into the family to keep, you know, everything. So I made 18 and I gave my mother 15 and I had 3. So I could have a really rip-roaring time.
What's your $3 a week?
Yeah. I walked to work, carried my lunch, and walked home. And Friday night, I could go to the Student Prince and have a grilled cheese sandwich and a beer and go to the movies and have enough to take the bus home. And my friend, Big Pope there, her father bought her a car because he didn't want her to go take flying lessons like I was going to do. And this is how they were brought up. When we got out of the movie, she drove home and I took the bus. Think she'd drive me home? God, couldn't spend that extra gas to take me home. And I was such a scaredy cat. My father used to say, "Will you call me when you've taken the bus and I'll meet you up at the corner." So I didn't have to walk alone. Yep.
That was Portland Street?
Yeah, Portland Street and Bernie Avenue.
So I was telling Larry, you know, that you were from Portland Street.
Yeah.
He's from Hungry Hill or something?
Yeah, Hungry Hill. That's where all the Irish were.
Right.
Hungry
and he's
Hill.
a Tian.
Yeah, Hungry Hill.
Tian's Dairy. He said to ask you if you remember.
Yes, I sure do.
Did they deliver to your house, or?
No, well, I don't know. I can't remember that. I just remember the funny things that used to get. The 10-gallon can of milk was left on our doorstep. 10 gallons of milk.
10 gallons of milk?
Yep. Left in a big container on our bottom of our...
Like a metal container?
Yeah.
Like a tin can?
Yeah, right. A metal container. And my mother in fact, I can remember my mother getting so mad at us sometimes, because she worked at the bakery at Woodbury's. In fact, I think everybody in our family worked there. The girls worked in the office, remember that Wally worked there, but my mother we used to have to leave a sign in the window for the Iceman. How many gallons, you know, how much we wanted that day, 40 pounds or 45. And the guy had his prongs and his slicker on his back. Sometimes we'd forget to put the sign in the window, and then of course my mother didn't have any eye. And we had the organ grinder come around to sharpen your knives and your scissors and stuff.
Oh, that's what he did?
Yeah, organ grinder. He had a monkey with him. And he'd go down the street and he had this thing, you know, the bell or ring or whatever. And then we had the rag man on the next street. Every one of his kids went to college. I'll tell you, that had to be a hell of a business.
Rags?
Yeah, and he had this big cart, you know, with horses. And he had a bell on the end, and you could hear him going down the street. Any rags today? Any rags today? And the people on the other corner from us, which I didn't know for a long time, Mr. Goldberg, it was a speakeasy. And one time the guy got the wrong house. I don't know whether anybody else was home with me or not, and I answered the door. And he wanted a place across the street.
Do you have the password?
Yeah. Sorry, buddy, you're in the wrong house. Across the street.
Speakeasy.
Yep.
That was Prohibition.
Right, yeah.
No kidding.
Of course, my mother or father never touched a drop.
You know what we had to do?
What?